Hey fellow healers, I wanted to go over some yoga-based breathwork tools today that can help with our nervous system and our limbic system, helping to regulate, and just really simple things that you can do with breathwork that don't require a lot of added stress on your body, and you can do them pretty much anywhere. So the first thing we're going to start with is alternate nostril breathing. So there's a couple different ways to do this, and we're going to try a few different ways. The traditional hand mudra that we use is we put down our first and second fingers, we block off our right nostril with our thumb, and then we block off our left nostril with our other two fingers. We're going to practice a few different types of alternate nostril breathing. So the first type is to close off the right nostril, inhale up through the left, hold it for a moment, exhale through the right, and then we're going to inhale through the right and exhale through the left. Inhale again through the left and exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Exhale through the right. We're going to keep alternating, going at our own pace. We can add in a little bit of breath retention here, maybe pausing on that inhale for a moment before we exhale, or perhaps we pause on the exhale for a few moments before we inhale again, and alternating to the other side. You can continue with that however feels comfortable. If that's not comfortable for your hands, you can alternate closing nostrils with just one finger. If you have a deviated septum or any kind of nasal issue or sinus issue going on, I did have a yoga teacher once explain that energetically you can kind of visualize, even if you're also breathing through your mouth with this exercise, you can visualize energy coming in through the right side and coming out the left, and in through the left and out through the right. And you're still going to get some of those energetic benefits. So the other thing that we want to talk about here is you can also focus just on one nostril at a time. So if you want to close off that right nostril and just breathe in and out through the left, taking a few breaths just through the left side. We're just going to notice how we feel before and how we feel after. When we just breathe through that left nostril, it's called Chandra Beta, or it's also called moon breath. So we are focusing on cooling the body because this is the side of the body that focuses on the cooling energy. Notice how we feel after that. And then maybe taking a moment to block off the left nostril and only breathe through the right for a few minutes here, as long as it feels comfortable. So what's interesting here, using this breath practice, is naturally throughout the day, our bodies actually swell up in different areas of our nose so that our nose naturally alternates which side we're breathing throughout the day. And that's kind of an unconscious practice that our body does. They've done studies that when you're using the left nostril breathing and the alternate nostril breathing, there's actually a slight decrease with blood pressure and heart rate. And practicing just the right nostril breathing, there's a slight increase in blood pressure. So what's interesting is that right side is more heating, it is more activating, and that left side is more cooling and more calming. So depending on what kind of energy we're trying to facilitate at that moment, utilizing these different types of alternate nostril breathing can be very beneficial. Also, if we add a little bit of that breath retention, either with alternate nostril breathing or just with our regular breathing, when we hold a little bit after that inhale and then we exhale, or when we're doing our regular breathing after we exhale, if we pause for a few moments and then inhale again, every time we're able to take a pause and hold that breath, it also does change our heart rate, it changes our nervous system state. So taking deeper breaths and having a longer exhale than inhale also helps to reset our limbic system and our nervous system. The way I like to describe this is if you imagine just naturally something scaring you, visualize something that's anxiety provoking. Where does your breath normally go? Usually we take really short, deep, short, shallow breaths, right? We're kind of hyperventilating. It's like, okay, and now I have to do this, and now this is happening. So our body automatically breathes a certain way when we're anxious. Instead of trying to change the thoughts and change the anxiety, what if we started with our breath? If we can purposely during the day focus on nice deep breath in and then a long, slow exhale, we only normally breathe that way when we're relaxed. So if we can consciously make a choice to take a deep inhale and a long, slow exhale that's longer than our inhale, it kind of hacks our body into thinking we're relaxed, even if we're not. And it's going to cause a sensation of relaxation. And that's a way that we're hacking into our nervous system and our limbic system to feel more calm, to feel more relaxed, even if we're not quite there yet. So these are some tips that I've learned with breathing that I think is really interesting. The other breath that I love is cooling breath. So this is actually referred to as Sitali in the yoga tradition. There's a few ways to do this. The easiest way is to purse your lips like you're drinking through a straw and take a really, I can't say it while I'm talking, but we're going to purse our lips and we are going to do a nice slow breath in. So the other thing you can do is you can curl your tongue, which genetically some people can and some people can't. But if you can curl your tongue and breathe through your tongue, it might feel a little silly, but it's hard to do. That's the way traditionally in yoga it was taught. Not everyone can do it. You can also grit your teeth kind of together and breathe in like, which offers more of a cooling sensation for your mouth. So there's a cooling effect that happens when we breathe this way. It also forces us to slow down and concentrate on our breath, which can be really hard to do if we're not used to doing breath work. So in the Hatha yoga practice, this has been attributed to a lot of relaxation, into cooling. If you're going through hot flashes, if you're having issues with dysautonomia, with POTS, with temperature regulation, this is helping us to slow down. This is helping us to feel a little bit different. And again, this breath has not been as extensively researched. It was more of a traditional yoga breath, but I find it to be a very interesting breath to utilize when you're trying to change your automatic patterns, maybe your unconscious patterns that you're not used to. Another type of breath, which I find interesting, is bee breath. And so a way that I would like to start teaching bee breath is to inhale through our nostrils and exhale with the humming sound. So we're going to inhale, and as we exhale through our nose, try to make that last as long as possible. You are going to sustain that sound until you have to inhale again. So it's going to be a long sound and a long exhale. Then again, inhale through your nose and hum like you're buzzing like a bee. Do that a few times. And you might feel a little lightheaded. So if you do stop and just take some normal calming breaths in between practicing, they did a study in India in 2010, and they found that this breath, it actually decreased heart rate and blood pressure after 5 minutes of practice, which induced parasympathetic dominance. So when we talk about fight or flight mode in the limbic system, fight or flight is when we're in sympathetic activation. This breath is helping to put us into parasympathetic, or more of that rest and digest mode that we want to be in order to be setting the stage for healing overall. So the way that I like to look at breath work is it slows us down. It can help with anxiety. It can help with a sense of overwhelm. It reminds us to just be present with mindfulness in this moment. It disrupts our neural pathways that might be stuck in a certain way of thinking. I mean, breath is supposed to be the most natural thing, right? We take our first breath as soon as we're born, and we take our last breath when we're no longer on this realm. And breath is something that we just do all the time without thinking of it. When we actually take the time to say, I'm going to breathe in a different way, I'm going to interrupt those really ingrained neural pathways that I have around breath, And I'm also going to hack my limbic system, and I start to feel more in control. If I can breathe a certain way, I can control the way that breath feels, and I can become very aware of how quickly I can shift my nervous system state with something as simple as my breath. It is such a great hack and such a great opening of the door into feeling more empowered and in control of something like, wow, these simple tools really can shift how I'm feeling. They can shift my nervous system. They can shift my immune system, my heart rate, my autonomic nervous system. So I hope some of these tools were helpful. I went through them super quick because I wanted to just get them out to you today in between clients. But if you have any questions on them, or you'd like to learn more about breathwork or different yoga tools to help with your limbic system and healing, comment below. I love to make videos that you specifically request and that can be the most helpful for you. And I hope you have a wonderful day full of healing.